there's a lot of pressure being on a team. And the pressure is don't let your team down. And so everything needs to be done. If you're not doing anything, you should be doing something. Make yourself busy. Go, get X, Y, and Z done. And when you do let the team down, you know it. And it's a horrible feeling. And they let you know that too. On my first deployment, I was a booze hound. We did not go to war, and I was pretty upset about that. And so I took to the booze, very heavy. But we still needed to train, and we still needed to keep sharp, and we needed to be ready in case we needed to relieve a platoon, if they took casualties. And my boozing got out of control, and the platoon let me know immediately that it was getting out of control. I woke up with a couple of them surrounded my rack where I was sleeping, and in the middle of the night. and they tune you up a little bit, kick your ass around a little bit, let you know, hey, you're fucking up, and you need to get your shit together.
Physically?
Now. Yep. Used to be very common. Now I don't think it is as common. But it used to be no questions asked. If you have a problem and it's getting in the way of the team, then you're going to be dealt with. Like I said, it's not uncommon. It was very common, and so you never really. I mean, as much as a disappointment as you are, there's no time to dwell. There's not really any time for grudges, and everybody gets out of line eventually. So I wasn't the first one that happened to. I wasn't the last one that happened to. And so you can't take it personal. You just need to be, and they do that in training too. You're broad, like I said, or like you said, I joined when I was 18. And so this all starts day one.
Yep.
In buds. And you're letting the team down, because even though it's not technically, a SEAL team, you're training with a handful of guys, and if the instructors call you out and they're like, all right, we're going to run that 4 miles again because Shawn didn't want to put out. He wanted to half-ass it. Then you have your entire class that fucking hates your guts because they're going to run that 4 miles again. Or, whatever evolution it is, we're going to run the O course again. We're going to get back in that cold water again until somebody quits because so-and-so was cheating. They will single you out in front of everybody. And so by the time you get to the team, you're used to that.
Yes.
And they do it, even if you're in buds, you may be the fastest swimmer. And if they see that you're not helping somebody out, helping the team out, but you finish first, they're going to pull you out and make everybody do the swim again, except you, because you didn't help anybody. I don't think that that's actually that's what they tell you, but everything in buds is, it's very structured. They don't have time because if nobody quits, but then when you get, farther into buds, especially like the third day of Hell Week, it starts getting harder for guys to quit because you're already zoned out and you've gone through 75% of the quitters already.
Yes.
And so when there's only 25 guys left in the class out of 250, they aren't going anywhere. Attention to detail changed a lot. I think I was not attention to detail before I went in. Now I'm very attention to detail because getting tuned up, missing minor mistakes, or not even necessarily half-assing things, but just missing small things or you forget something. But a lot has changed. My temper has changed.
How so?
Before the psychedelics, I would say I was angry more than I was happy. Experienced a lot of loss, a lot of trauma in a job like that, and makes you angry. Makes you angry to see people take this country for granted. After all the sacrifices that you've seen, that you've made, that friends died. Self-entitlement is a big one. You see a lot of people. Right now, we see everybody in college tuition, paid for with the new administration, which on one hand, I think that's great, because we're finally, somebody's pumping money back into our own country instead of sending it all to Ukraine and everywhere else in the world. But on the other hand, there's a guy, that was an incentive, for guys to join the military. Hey, you join the military, we'll pay into the GI Bill, we'll take care of your college. Well, now that's not worth shit because college is free. So how does that make you feel?
It's
different?
stipend.
I'm not too familiar with the the bill.
Got you.
You know, they're coming out with so many of them, I can't keep up anymore. But I know I've seen a lot of people that I know. I saw one guy post on his Twitter, you know, that his tuition was his legs, and it makes him sick that they're going to pay everybody else's. And so anyways, you know, and then they complain more. Well, you need to pay for this. You need to pay for this. I'm entitled to this. I'm entitled to this. And you come home and that's what you see, because that's what's in the media, you know, and it can build, for me, it builds resentment. A lot of guys, I think, can overlook it. I'm still working on that. Psychedelics have helped a lot. Watching people kneel for the national anthem, it was huge for me. I mean, I can't count how many funerals that I've gone to where, you know, guys have died for this country. And then you come home and you got athletes making $60 million a year. You know, what do they have to complain about? Kneeling for the national anthem. I mean, it's sickening, you know, and it bothers a lot of us. I may be a little more vocal about it, but those are some of the things, you know, that you come home and you see that stuff. You know, you see all of it. You see rioting in the streets. I don't think we're going to see a lot of ground wars anymore.
What's that mean?
I think it's going to be a lot of like what China's doing now. I think it's going to be a lot of Cold War, I guess is what you would call it, where it's not in your face, kicking doors down. It's not invading necessarily. And I mean, I know that's happening in Russia, Ukraine right now, but if major superpowers start fighting, I don't think it's going to be a lot of ground. I don't think it's going to be a lot of Marines. I don't think it's going to be a lot of special operations. I think it's going to be a lot of computer stuff, hacking, propaganda, stuff like that. That looks very, very different than Taliban, Al-Qaeda, Al-Shabaab, you know, things like that. Well, I mean, China's doing exactly what they should be doing, you know, for their goal. I mean, the fentanyl crisis that's happening with the cartels, and that's all coming from China. They're bringing chemists in, they're teaching these cartels how to cook. World's most potent fentanyl. They actually already have the next drug that's worse than fentanyl. They're teaching them how to do that. And, you know, and so that's eating us. I mean, look at, you know, I just walked around Austin. There's all kinds of homeless out there shooting drugs. You know, it's in every city. It's everywhere. And that's coming from China. You know, then you look at the green initiative. We're seeing it. This is what's going to happen, you know, and I'm not necessarily anti-green. You know, I'm all about what's best for the planet. But, you know, we keep talking about, we're going to be energy independent with green energy. No, we're not. We're not going to be energy independent because China is going to supply all of our energy equipment. And so they're going to be able to do exactly what Russia's going to do to Germany this winter. They're going to flip the switch and they're going to say goodbye to gasoline, and they're fucked. And that's what's going to happen to us if we have China produce all of our solar panels, all of our lithium batteries, all of our wind, you know, equipment. All they have to do is flip the switch. And let's be honest, I mean, how many products have we had come in from China that last? Not very many, you know. The quality control over there, they don't give a shit about that stuff. And so they're going to control our energy, whether we like it or not, because we're not making that stuff. They're buying up our farmland. They're paying off our politicians. I did an interview on that, on how many of the, and it's not one side, you know, that's another thing that is a little concerning is they're dividing us. They're doing a damn good job. A lot of the shit that you're seeing on social media, it's on bots, you know, and it's designed to split this country apart, and it's working. To me, is the new warfare, and like I said, they're doing exactly what they should be doing for their goals. We are not. We're worried about, you know, woke bullshit or whatever. I hope that doesn't happen. But
me too.
Sometimes I wonder if they both lead to the same place. I mean, was it Stalin that said capitalism will eventually eat itself? I can't remember if that was him.
Maybe.
But and if you look at some of the stuff that's going on, you know, like Amazon or Walmart or Facebook, you know, they've grown so big, and we are capitalists, right, here in the U.S. Well, they've just obliterated small business. You know, when's the last time you went to a Best Buy, you know, or it's destroying business. And so basically, I'm wondering if that's going to become an authoritarian, government. I think people would do that is if the quality's better.
Yes.
So like a lot of people do that with, they'll go to a farmer's market and get real organic, or they'll go to a farmer like we do and we'll get real, not that the other beef's fake, but I know where it's coming from and I like the cuts and that you know what I'm getting at.
Yep.
But